2, 1. Welcome to episode 10 of the HVAC podcast. Today we have To The T Plumbing. I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and please make sure to also include what your guys' revenue is at. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. I'm Nate Trail, owner of To The T Plumbing Heating, alongside with my wife, Megan Trail. This year, revenue-wise, we're at $3 million.
Wow.
Our goal is the sky's the limit. I expect to be at 3 to 8 million next year. I hope to be at 24 in the next year, and I hope to be at 50 and 5. So that's where our goals and our minds are headed. Goals are going to be at $125 million in 10 years, right? So
125.
We're here to change the Denver market for sure.
Perfect. How are you guys going to change your market?
I obviously one is the people. I mean, we need the people here in Denver to, one, share that vision, see that vision, to grow side with us.
I agree.
We've made a really good splash as it is in the Denver market as it is, but we're just looking to level up, if you could want to call it that, and to take ourselves to the next level, our brand to the next level, as you see it here behind us.
Yep.
The only thing that it's not in our building right now is the bathroom, because
that will change.
Yeah, it's got to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's the only place it's not. So our brand is everywhere. So my underwear, if I were to take it off right now, has our brand on it.
I love it. And the socks?
The socks, I mean, everything. I bleed it.
Heck yeah, I like that. So 3 million, 8 million to 24 to 50 to 125. I love numbers like that. That gets me excited. Nate, Megan, what roles of the business do you guys operate in?
Well, sorry, say that one more time. What roles? Oh, so I'm an owner. I was the owner operator for the past 5 years. So we've only been around for 5 years in the Denver market, doing both heating and air. So doing HVAC and plumbing, we do both. And then now we brought in a GM. We've got our sales techs. We got our techs on both sides. Yeah, and then my wife is more geared to the office administration side of it. But let's be honest, she fires me every Friday, and I keep showing up on Monday.
Right.
She's the real boss. I'll let her talk for a little bit here on that.
So yeah, so like field office. So we kind of take that responsibility on. We're wanting to work on the business more than in the business. So we're at transition to where the only way the business is going to grow is if we're not working in the field, distracted with what somebody else can do, right? Trusting like our team to give that quality of service that we give, because obviously we know that we can't fully be cloned and have someone go out there and present it the way we present it, but as close as we can. So investing in ourselves right now, especially like how we met you with the Grant Cardone Summit, is that a big investment. With going to the summit and getting a workshop, and then we invested even more. So trusting each other, we can kind of make deals without asking each other for permission. So I think we're at a good foundation right now, to where we're just going to be stacking on top of what we've already built.
Perfect. When you say, so I want to talk to a HVAC owner doing sub $500,000 a year. How would someone that's currently in the business, in the heat, in the attic, how would they, like Megan, how would you, give them a piece of advice of how would they be able to work on the business and not in the business?
So if you're 500,000, you have like 3 employees, right?
No, it's one.
One, maybe?
Maybe one.
We have a guy here in Phoenix doing 500, and it's just him and his truck, and he just has his family, right?
On you. So you got to bring on another tech. You have to. And then you have to bring somebody on to answer calls. And I mean, you can't say that I'm sexist, because I'm a woman in construction, and I'm a firm believer that like a woman behind the calls is really good. With the stats that we've seen, if a plumber answers the phone calls, my feedback with a lot of customers that I've talked to personally is that like, oh, I called this plumber and he answered, and he kind of made me feel stupid because I didn't know where my shutoff valve was. So men are a little bit more abrasive than women. So a lot of people like to hear that, soft, caring voice of like, oh, I understand that your water heater's flooding. Like, let's take care of that. Like, it's a little bit more of a softer touch. So I'd say an office admin and a field tech, and that'll help you build to train them so they can train somebody. And then you could have a solid team to where when you have a person installing, you can, and you have someone up at the front desk answering, and they could be working from home. We were all in, everybody works from home, so that's doable to where you don't have to have a brick and mortar if you're at 500,000, but you have to have somebody answering that phone, and you have to have somebody that you're training that can take over your position, so you could grow to that 1 million and bring on another tech.
Yeah, I mean,
Beautiful.
a lot of things when you're 500 million, it's just you, right? We want to be the wearer of all hats, and I'm going to do the marketing, I'm going to answer the phone, and I'm going to do all the text messages, and I'm going to do, like, we just do this because it's our baby, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as like nobody wants, when I'm doing a furnace, when I was doing a furnace, the last thing anybody wants to do is call me, because I'm like, hey, I'm there with the customer, I'm slamming in their system, and then that customer hears me on the phone all the time. Hey, Nate, to the T, you know, and then all of a sudden they're like, how could it be done right now if he wasn't on the phone the whole time?
And there's frustration.
Yeah.
Frustration.
Because he cut his hand and now he's mad, and like then he's answering the phone. He got blood on his cell phone.
Yeah, but as soon as an owner goes like, and it feels weird, but just to go like, here, you answer the phones, and here, let's get the marketing guy, because to be honest, 500,000, that's close to most of the word of mouth, and then now you've got everybody in the market calling you, from Yelp to everybody, your Google listings not up to date, and then, you know, we got all these people that's like telling us they're going to solve all our problems and we're going to be #1 at Google. It's like, bet your marketing company, get there, make sure that's working, boom, get somebody answer their phone, and your business is going to double.
Wow.
Hands down. If you find the right company to do your SEO and your Google platforms and your social media, because let's be honest, most of us that are great installers have no idea what we're doing when it comes to social media,
Yeah.
nor Google. And then we don't want to answer the phones. So as soon as you do that, you're going to double your business. You're going to be at 1 million flat right there. And then you're going to feel that little growing pain at
well,
1
then
million.
you tell the community that you're growing, right? So get your name out there. So market your name, your brand. And then if you're growing at a faster pace than somebody else right next to you, that attracts employees, right? They like to see growth. They don't like to see decline. So if you're out there with that smile on your face and it's in people's faces, like social media, that's a free platform. You could just get your business name anywhere and everywhere you possibly can, and you talk to it about anybody and everybody that you can.
Wow. Those are great insights, because you know, anyone watching this that really wants to grow their business, it's good to get insights from a $3 million revenue business right now, because they may not have a chance to talk to you guys because you guys are so busy, you know. As far as hiring goes, whether it's, you know, office or a tech, how did you guys get your first employee? Did you guys just, like, you know, have a buddy? Indeed, how'd that process go?
Yeah, I mean, in business, it's never good to hire a friend, because you're going to get disappointed, or you're going to hurt somebody's feelings, or to be let down. So get outside of that. I've done it. I've made that mistake. Learn from me, right? The other thing too, you see our core values. I think it's, right there. I'm just looking at myself. Our core values is something that we ask in every interview that we do. They got to make sure that you know, we talk about our core values in business, but it's got to bleed into our employees. And that's one of the main questions is, you know, how does our core values bleed into their life, and what does it mean for them personally and for the business? And you really can't go wrong at that point, because if that's a good fit and their core values match yours, it's only gonna be easy for them to get into your system. So,
but we've done a lot of word of mouth in the beginning. Like Nate worked out at CrossFit, and our GM, that's where he met our GM, but then he was working for another company. He kind of sat on the fence for a little bit, and I never stopped calling. I followed up with him monthly, and then I started following up with him weekly. And then when something hit the fan, he's like, I'm ready to come over. Started as a unlicensed plumber. We motivated him to get his journeyman's license, and then he moved up the ranks to GM. So that was kind of like a person that we kind of knew and worked out with. And then we do a lot of hiring now with certain techs, which would be on Indeed, and we're switching over to a new platform through our payroll system.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so getting our the cool thing is that we did the 360 a day after we did the platform, or not the platform, platform, but we did the 360 after the summit, and we extended our plane ticket because we bought into the 360, and it was in Miami. It's not Miami, wherever we were.
Miami, yeah.
In Miami. And he asked the crowd whenever we were all in the 360, it was a lot smaller of a room, obviously. And they were talking about how they were going to implement things that they learned from the summit or from this 360. And I raised my hand and I said, we already implemented. We tweaked a couple things on our Indeed application, and we got 6 resumes within an hour or two.
What was that one thing you tweaked?
How much they could make.
Yeah, revenue.
Not holding them back on a certain hourly or a percentage, but like putting $100,000 to $200,000 on there.
Wow.
And then getting them into the door. We were having issues with getting people to come in and actually interview or actually apply. We tweaked that one little thing to not make them have like this is what you could make right now. We said this is what you could make if you put your
we were putting a lid on it.
Yeah,
right?
we put a lid on it.
Guys were
so in the Indeed where it says like just hourly wage, right? You know how it says in your market, most people do $18 to 24 hours. You guys did like 18 to, did you do a yearly average or what'd you do?
We just did 100 to 200 grand. Whatever that employee wants to make, it's up to me to make sure he makes that.
Great.
Right.
So we tweaked that a little bit. We got 6 resumes in the door within the first hour. And then we already had 2 people on the schedule to interview before I even made that comment.
Wow.
Right. We've interviewed 3 people so far, and we have another interview today. So that's going to be 4 people. And we got that to move from, we did it on Monday and this is Friday. So we've gotten 4 people in the door.
We hired one plumber.
We hired one plumber, and this guy we're trying to hire right now. So our goal was to hire 2. And with with what we can see with what he has to offer, it would be a hard hire for another employee within the next month.
What I liked about I stalked you guys on Instagram, and on your links it said we're hiring plumber and technician. That was cool. Also, side note, I heard the phone ring. Neither of you two freaked out trying to get that deal. Your team taking care of it. So that's another reason why you gotta have your SOP taken care of. But yeah, I hope he signs. I hope we had a conversation before, so I hope something like that would have helped,
Yeah, picture. We went up to if you're making $1 million or more in the summit, they had like a little dinner reception, and Brandon went up there and
hey, thank you, Brandon and Grant, for getting that tweak in their system, and we look forward to seeing that. Hopefully we get some out of that.
I know. Well,
yeah.
Brandon there, and I was waiting behind. He was talking to somebody, and they kept talking, and I just stood there and I looked right at him in his eyes the whole time, and he kept looking at me kind of. And then when I was next in line, so after they kind of went away and shook hands, he came right to me. And I asked him some questions, and he was blunt, he was clear. He kind of offended Nate a little bit, but it was like, that's what we need. We need honesty. We need transparency. This is what we need to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And we got this, and I said, okay, it was a pretty quick, I know he's just a to the point guy, no bullshit. So I said, one more thing. I need a picture with you and Nate. And he was like, yeah, the handshake. The 3D or 360, he came, we went up to him to walk out and shook his hand, and he put his arms out and gave me a big hug.
Ah, that's what's up. No, what offended you? What offended you, Nate?
Just make it, I'm a big thinker and spreading across the map. He told me, he reserved me to spreading across the nation right now. He said, get your 3 in Colorado, then spread. Because I was ready to go right now.
He said you need to get 9 to do what you want to do.
So
and he said,
I don't want to give any of these HVAC guys.
No, you're good.
What my plan is.
Well, there'd be
because I'm going to be coming into their market here in a couple of years.
There'd be too much to where we're not big enough to sustain if anybody isn't after us.
And this isn't P&E, right? This is you guys.
Yeah.
That's us. Yep.
Wonderful.
So, but he just was very clear. And Nate was like, how could that happen? I've done all the legal work, and and he was like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And he just said it how it is. And he realized he kind of offended Nate. He was like, I'm just here to help you. And I was like, that's what we're here. We need that help and that extra push, and we need that advice. And he's dealt with that already. So we don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So we're all in. If they tell us to point north, we'll point north, and we've already pointed north in suggestions.
Yeah.
And been successful already. So we're pretty excited about that, to where now they're gonna sit down and tell us exactly what to do, and it's only gonna be way more beneficial than what we've already done. Right? And that's what we're Will into, is that
we're closing Will today. We're doing that today.
A closer. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes down, anyone hearing this, like, you can, like, these owners invested so much, but what was your guys' first big, hairy, like, scary investment where you're like, crap, if we do this, it does, like, for me, I've made investments. I'm like, crap, if this doesn't work, like, I'm done, right? Have you guys been in that position where I'm going to invest, but if we don't do this, we're done? Or, like, what's been that big, scary investment?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many scary investments.
I don't think we've ever had that outlook.
No, the first thing that your 500,000 guy, 500,000 is getting your right marketing company that's on board with you, because SEO takes time, and people in business are like, I don't care, not just business, we're America. We're just this instant gratification type of person, like people. And SEO and Google doesn't like instant gratification. It likes slow and steady growth. And that's a big investment, especially when you don't, because everybody wants your money and nobody's going to give you nothing. They're just crap. Like, so many marketing companies, so many digital marketing companies, so many, I can give you this, and they never perform. And you guys are more than, if they're not in my market, they're more than welcome to reach out to us online to be like, hey, who are you guys using? If they're in my market, I'm going to tell you to pound sand, dude, or I'm just going to buy you, and then you can just come in. But one of the things is getting the right marketing company in, so you know that what you're putting in is going to be an investment. Because that was something that when we were that young in business, marketing is a big deal. It's a big amount of money out of your account every month, and that way, that's the biggest one. And then the next scary one is how do you hire the right tech? How do you hire the right person to answer the phones? And that's the investment in people, and then it gets to, all right, I want to grow from 3 million up. It's like we just spent an ungodly amount of money to make sure we had 125 million. You know what I mean? That's investment.
But in 10 years.
In 10 years, I mean, we could have bought a house.
We've already seen change. So I think me and Nate, how we work as a team, we both came up in the industry of construction, and like when we got to know each other, we knew each other for 2 years before we actually started to date and get married. But when he proposed to me, we got married within 6 months, right? So it was like, we know what we want when we want it. And there's on both sides, to where he wanted to go to this Grant Cardone, and it was a pretty expensive event that we paid for, and the summit was thrown in. And I was like, then he turned me over to him, and I said, okay, well, he wants to go here. It must be worth my ear to listen. And I did all the finance stuff and paid for it. And then when we went to the actual event and we liked what we heard, we looked at each other, the salesmen kept coming up. And we signed the deal. He looked at me and he said he wants to move forward, and there was no like, well, we have to talk about it and argue about it. And figure it out. We kind of closed the deal at lunch the second day. And the platform was the next day. So like, we made some pretty big decisions in a short period of time. But we could kind of see success when we see it. Like, we're not analytical thinkers, we're doers, we're drivers. We push to win, and we hire the analytical thinkers and the stabilizers.
If you're not good at it, hire somebody that is, period.
For sure.
So we're both good at pushing forward. So I don't think we ever had, we never thought that we could fail on an investment, because I think we have a good foundation of where we want to go, and we're good with people, and we know, like, he really is good at like knowing to trust someone and what they have to say. If he talks to you the first minute or two, he can figure out if he doesn't want to talk to you anymore. And I'm kind of on the train where it's like, okay, they're not a good person to talk to. I'll follow his lead, and it kind of works really well just with our relationship.
And I do a lot of keynote speaking, and one of the things I talk about is get uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
Until you get comfortable, and then what's the next step? Get uncomfortable again. because if you get comfortable and you stay there, you're sitting stagnant, you're never going to grow.
Correct.
And that's personal life, that's in your business. So as soon as you start to feel comfortable, it's like, oh, okay, now I need to get uncomfortable again because I need to grow. And
if you go broke, you got to go make more money, right? So like if we
100%.
spend in this Cardone, it's like we're in it to make it back. And they promise, it's the first company that really has, like, even Grant was up on the stage and he said, if you don't make your $40,000 back in the first year plus like more than that, he was like, if you call and complain to me, I'll give it back to you. I don't even want to deal with you. Like, he's like, if you come and complain to me about my services, then I'll just refund you and I won't ever talk to you again. But he's like, I've never had to do that. So I'm taking him for his word, but like his word is backed by his net worth and that summit that he had going on. It was a pretty
100%.
awesome.
Yeah, we had to get uncomfortable to to see if we get comfortable again. I don't know. I'm never comfortable, so I'm ready. Like, oh, let's grow.
Yeah,
let's freaking grow, baby. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What was that?
You said EL 125. That's thinking too small, bro. I'm like, no. There's only 12 companies that are in the 250. I don't want to be the 13th. Superstitions. Let's go to I want to be the 14th, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that, I mean, my that's how I've always thought, and that's one thing any business owner, and if they're at 500,000, he's probably uncomfortable. He's probably comfortable with what he knows, and he's making a little bit of money, and it's probably not what he was making before he was working for somebody else, but he's like, it's his baby or their baby or her baby. I don't care, person's baby. But it's one of those that's like, well, what's next? How do you got to grow and get uncomfortable? And if you want to call or message or DM me what company we're using, I don't mind sharing that. But it's one of those, get uncomfortable and then know that you got to make a leap and know that you got to get into this and then look past it and be like, this is where we're going, move forward and let's go.
And you're not growing if you don't invest in yourself. So like if you stay with that one guy and you don't pay for more marketing, or you don't pay for another van, or you don't pay for a better tool, you're never going to grow. So like if you don't invest in yourself in one way or another, if it is marketing or if it's tools or if it's people, and you don't put money on the table, like in the right way, obviously, you're not going to ever grow.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, get past the people thing. They're always going to try to find the guy that's just like them. Get past that. You're never going to find anybody that's just driven or is a bunch of right. You're never going to find a guy that does podcasts that does it as good as you, and you're as dedicated to it and everything else. And just get over the fact people suck. All right, beyond that, let's go. Just figure it out.
Well, that's what we did too with one of their suggestions, is that they made us look at our team. Like, are you afraid to fire? Are you fear hiring? Like, you just hire because you need a guy and you're just going to take the first person that steps in the door and you don't have time to do a whole interview process. So where we had to let somebody go. And, he was in training, and it's just like, he was everything that they said that we don't want. He was that, unfortunately. And just kind of babysitting him. It was like, well, we're not a daycare. I looked at Nate and I said, we're not a daycare. We got to let him go. And our GM, he let him go before he came out here, or out to Miami, because we flew him out on Tuesday morning to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We're like, hey, dude, this is where we're going. Are you on board? Yep. All right. Get on a plane. You're in Miami tonight. He got there at 4 a.m.
My man.
At 7:30.
Yep. That's what you got to do when you're growing like that. So investments are super, super important. Invest in marketing, people, tools, whatever you need to expand yourself and to grow more arms to your business. I love that. That's no, so I own a marketing company, and we've seen the worst of the worst of how other marketers unfortunately take advantage of people that don't know about marketing. So we signed on this commercial company that does commercial, that's opening the residential side of their HVAC business. And they're like, yeah, the other company said they did my Google ads and everything, opened the account, nothing was done. So $3,000 paid monthly to this company. And they're a good reputable company too. It's like, wow, they didn't do anything. So when it comes down to that, definitely vet. If you guys want, follow To The T Plumbing on Instagram. Nate, Megan, thank you guys for being on. I appreciate it. I'm gonna I'm pretty sure I got like 4 to 5 little short clips because you guys were just dropping bombs over here. So I appreciate that. So I'll be sending that to you guys. Is there anything else that you want to, give advice to, someone to someone in HVAC, maybe somewhere where you guys were like maybe 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, just don't ever stop. It's business sucks. People suck. And but don't let it stop you from getting your goals and your dreams. Like, just because there's many a times where business owners they just want to give up. I've been there. She's been there. And how many times have I called her? I'm like, I'm just done. I'm done. And she calls me the same thing.
We're always done at those different times.
Yeah.
We're never done together. If we were both done together, it'd be like, okay.
Yeah, it's you just gotta keep pushing and put your head down. And
I'd say, yeah, training is a big thing for us, is that don't be afraid to train. Don't ever throw your brand out there without training behind it. And that's where we're really big in the buy-in with Grant Cardone and Brandon, is that we're big trainers. So we're going to the next level of training. So I think, and holding a team accountable. So hold your team accountable, and who wants to grow with you, you'll be successful. And you just have to let go of the ones that don't want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Oh, one more thing.
One more thing. Yeah, to that training, and you can clip this and put it on there too. And on the training portion is like, we get a lot of questions like, well, hey, what if you train your guys and they leave? And I rebuttal and I say, what if I don't train them and they stay? So that's a big one. So you can make a clip on that one. Put that on there too, buddy.
My man, another bomb. I love it. Awesome, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you here soon.